Good morning, everybody. Welcome to World Without Rule of Law. Today, I'm doing a video response to a call out by Jonathon of Lonestar Living. And he is part of a collaboration with a bunch of other people, and it kind of goes down the line, but they are trying to answer the question, prepper or homesteader? Who will die first? I'm going to fix this. Is off to the side there. Sorry about that. So prepper, homesteader, who will die first? That's part of it. And then strengths, weaknesses, that's another part. And which did you do first? Prepping, and then that led to homesteading, or homesteading and that led to prepping? So let's start with that one. For me, it was definitely prepping first. I think probably that would be the case for most people, right? But maybe not. But I got woken up a couple years ago, a couple friends from church, and we saw the need, for what was going on in the world and the headlines and everything. Like, maybe it's time to start, getting ready for some hard times, right? And biblical prophecy too kind of looks at that. So we started out, I think, traditionally. I started out pretty traditionally, right? Saving up food and getting the buckets and putting the rice and the beans and the different stuff, pastas and sauces and water and everything else, right? So first day, medical first aid is one thing I probably got to still work on a little. We've been doing it for a while, but the budget isn't huge, so it's going at the pace it's going at. And that's a hard thing, because in the beginning, like every time you get something, it just makes you realize what you don't have, and so it can become an obsession. But so for me, it was definitely prepping first, and then I started looking at some YouTube videos about prepping, try to get some ideas and some guidelines of what I should be doing, and just to get other people's perspectives. And in that, it kind of led me into the homesteading genre. And I think for many people, the two are woven into one fabric, right? Homesteading and prepping, because it's all about self-sustainability in the end, right? So that was how I started. And then my wife and I, we actually ended up seeing the need to. I watched Viking Preparedness, and so he talks about fleeing the city, getting out of the city, come out of the city, my people, right? And so we kind of related to that. That kind of took forefront. We ended up buying a house in Virginia, and we're renovating it, and we're trying to set it up as a homestead. We're getting ready to go down there in a couple of years or whatever, in retirement, right? So we shifted kind of to that. So yeah, prepping, then into homesteading. Strengths and weaknesses. Well, so strengths, okay, I'm an electrician by trade. I have some other construction skills, and trying to renovate the house, a lot of it myself, and can't do everything ourselves, right? Like, we gotta have help with some stuff, and building the stuff outside. I got a plan to convert a lean to one of those carports into a greenhouse, and then try to do a video on that sometime soon too, but whatever. So skills are, I guess that's a skill, right? Construction, trades, skills. Another skill is something like, it's not traditional, and I won't think about it a lot, and I don't say it in a braggadocious way at all, because I lack in so many areas that I'm not trying to say, Toto, yeah, like, look at me, but I think having discernment is a skill, right? Like, kind of like maturity in a little way. Like, knowing how to proceed, knowing when to approach people, when not to approach people. Walking circumspectly, as the Bible says, and kind of knowing how to read other people and deal with other people and respond to other people. And I guess those social skills, that could be a skill, right? That could be a positive, a strength, right? So weaknesses, oh man, how much time you got for that one? For me, physical fitness is one. Try to work on it. It's a constant struggle. I go into my story, right? I had a high lift tip all around me. I shattered all the vertebrae in my back, and physical fitness, that was 26 years ago. It became difficult after that. But really, it's all just excuses, right? Because I could walk, I could swim, there's low impact stuff. So I could eat like a normal human being. So that's one thing I definitely got to work on. I've been trying to work on it lately. Another weakness is the fact that the homestead we're building out is 650 miles away from here, right? And we're in this transition, like we're trying to shut things down here. As you can see, we got stuff piled up. We're moving. The house is going on the market here. We're going to get a apartment until it's time to move down there, and so that the distance between the two places geographically is definitely a weakness, because it's just, if something did happen, how do we even get there, right? Like a financial collapse, yeah, we could get in our car and go. But if it was an EMP or some kind of like Red Dawn scenario, that might be a little more difficult. So that's a weakness for sure. Another weakness is community, right? So that's never been a strong point for me. It's always been difficult for me. And probably in a couple of years, I've got 2 people in my group, so I'm lacking in that respect here. But now to go down there to somewhere where I know absolutely nobody and start all over, that's a weakness. It's hard to build those relationships. It's hard to trust people, right? But yet we have to, if we're going to build out that community, that group, that support group. So I'd say for me, that's definitely a weakness. Now, as far as who dies first, well, that's completely situational, right? And Jonathon did a really good job delineating these points, and I think I really couldn't say it any better than he did or have a lot to add, but I think it is completely situational. I think it depends, Russians are falling out of the skies, or Chinese people are falling out of the skies in parachutes, and they're coming up the street and they're looking to, kill everybody and take all their stuff or imprison them or whatever. Well, preppers probably, right? Grab your tubs of food and all your gear and load it in your Suburban and head out into the mountains. You got a little bit better chance, right? In an EMP scenario, maybe not so much, because you're leaving just with a pack on your back. Homesteaders in a financial collapse where you're way out in the middle of nowhere and there's really, you're out of the way of like roving mobs and stuff, you're probably in pretty good shape. If you're in a little more populated area, then you're kind of vulnerable too, right? Because everything is on that plot of land. So, there's ways to mask it. There's ways to multiply, multipliers, right? Board up your windows, put the nail strips under the windows, and whatever, right? But so you got to defend those preps. Look at our case. My wife and I go to Virginia. It's the 2 of us. We have one neighbor in sight. He's 78 years old, and he's a great guy. I've met him, and we've been talking. And we haven't really gotten to that prepping conversation yet, or where we stand with all that. But I'm throwing things out there, try to feel him out. I don't know if he's really into that. I believe he has guns. I know he has guns. But okay, so there's several aspects to that. Who is he? Are we on the same page? Then beyond that, can I trust him? And so even if I think I'm at the point where I can say yes, yes, yes into those questions, but then what do we have? We have me and my wife and a 78-year-old guy and his wife. So if 2 people come up the road, we'll probably do okay. If 22 people come, So then we have to, there's whole different dynamics there, right? You have to be able to defend that. So there you go, back to the group, right? You have a little community with neighbors, you ring the bell, they all come running. Sounds good and it could work, but again, you got to trust all those people. You have to trust that when you're at the meeting talking about it, they're like, yeah, I'll be there with my rifle and I'll, fight to the death to defend your home and you do the same for me. When the time comes, will they follow through with that? So there's some unknowns there. The trust is a huge part of all that. So who dies first? prepper, homesteader. Completely situational in my opinion. I think ultimately, if you had to step back and look at the whole thing, I think homesteaders are better off, right? They have a sustainability. They can have, animals, crops, and then in their shed they can have their bug out bag and their little stuff ready to go. So at a moment's notice, they can shift roles from homesteader to prepper and take off if they had to. So they can kind of serve both roles. If you're a prepper and you're living in the city and you got all your stuff and you got your Suburban, that's great if the guys are falling out of the sky and you can load up and take off. If it's an EMP, what do? You're leaving just with a backpack. And there's guys that could survive that, that have those skills, right? But I think in the long run, being a prepper, homesteader, woven into one fabric, I think is the way to go. And I think a lot of people foot that bill. They couldn't separate the two, homesteading and prepping. And that's probably the best place to be coming at it from, in my opinion. So there's that. I think ultimately the best thing you could do to be prepared is be right with God. Have a relationship with the Most High God, right? Because then none of the other stuff matters. Of course, we're going to do whatever we can to hang on and survive as long as we possibly can down here. But if you go into it, with His assurance, this world is not my home, I'm just passing through. Make my home somewhere beyond the blue someday, right? So kind of puts things in perspective. Who's going to die first? What difference does it make? If you're going to die, you're going to die. It doesn't matter if you're first or third or 23rd or 303rd. Ultimately, a lot of people are going to die. Ultimately, we're all going to die. So that's number one. Get it settled. Settle your account with God. Get it, settled where you're going when you die. Then all this other stuff, it's just prolonging your mission here on earth, right? So I think that's the most important aspect of the whole entire thing, bar none. Okay, so time to tag 3 other people. So I want to tag Daniel, from Daniel, God is my judge. I want to tag Claire, from Living Like Claire. And I want to tag Ken, from Rocky Brook Farmstead. And I'll give a short reason why I chose each 3 of those. Daniel and Claire. Daniel's older, retired military. He's a Christian. He's got a biblical worldview, and I'm interested in that perspective. Claire, kind of the same thing. She's young. I think she's 16, 17. In my opinion, she's got wisdom beyond her years. She's very discerning. I think she's, wise is it's not a word you usually use to describe a 16-year-old, right? But I think she is wise. And her worldview is biblically based, and I think that's kind of maybe what makes her wise. And I think it's an interesting perspective, and I think she will bring a very unique and interesting perspective to this challenge as well. Ken from Rocky Brook Farmstead, he's living it. I see him as, we talked about the 2 threads being woven into one fabric, homesteader, prepper, right? I believe he fits the bill for both. I don't think he could separate the 2 if he had to. And I think that's true for a lot of people that are really living that true homesteading, safe self-sustainability goal in mind. Maybe he doesn't prep in the traditional sense, and I don't know this, maybe he does. I don't know if he's got buckets full of food stacked up somewhere, and supplies and all this other stuff. But you don't have to do that to be a prepper. If he's structuring his life and his homestead to be self-sustainable, isn't that the ultimate prep anyway, really? So I think because of that, because he lives both of them together at the same time, interwoven into one fabric, I think he also will bring a unique perspective to this. And I look forward to each 3 of those and hearing their ideas and their perspectives on it. And again, Jonathan from Lonestar Living, thank you for tagging me. I enjoyed doing this, and I look forward to watching all the other videos and seeing everyone else's perspective. God bless you. Have a great day.